Welcome back to the 𝐾𝐢𝐬𝐼𝐻 Bitcoin and altcoin technical analysis and trading show. Today is Thursday, May 12th, and let's get after it. In my previous non-live YouTube videos, I had been saying that there are two most likely scenarios that are getting ready to play out, in my opinion, and I gave it very drawn out, but very detailed reasons why I thought the first most probable was the first most probable. And that was that the horizontal of support around the 29 to 32K level. So is kind of a band horizontal box. And I said, I think the first most probable is that price is going to go below it and not bounce from there. However, a strong number two most likely is that it bounces because it is a strong horizontal, and here are all the reasons why it's a strong horizontal. But I did believe that it was a stronger case, like as if you were in a court system, right, or a lawyer or something. I'm putting a case for the defense, a case for the, or the defendant and the other side. And for some reason, words aren't working for me this morning. Maybe I don't have enough coffee. And I felt that the case for price to drop through it was much stronger. So if you didn't check out that video, that was from Monday. It was my Monday video. You can go ahead and check that out if you didn't, and you can look at that after here. So right now what we're going to do, now that it's pretty obvious that Bitcoin is slipping and sliding down, we might go a little bit into seeing how well connected it is to both NASDAQ and SPX traditional markets. We'll take a peek. I won't do a deep dive analysis on there, but we'll take a look because Bitcoin essentially trades with NASDAQ, and I've already shown that on live streams before too. And then we will go over what my general targets are for bottom, potential bottom, and then I'll take some Q&A, and I will have to wrap this one up right at 11:30, so in an hour, because today is gym day with my wife, so she's very serious about that today. So she won't let me go over. So let's get going here. That little intro thing is just long enough for me to chug some coffee. That's good. All right. One of the core reasons why I had been thinking, and I gave my number one most probable scenario, that Bitcoin would bust through here, even before there was a daily closure below. So even before this daily closure, my first most probable is that it would bust through this zone. And the major reason for that was the master origin line and the weekly 10. So just a quick recap. I might want to get rid of these lines. And I'll hide that one. The weekly 10 and the monthly 10 had both gone below the master origin line. And the gist of it is, after the red line or the weekly 10 goes below, let me take off price. After it goes below the master origin line, historically, at that time, the next turn up in price, it has to stick its landing on the origin line and then continue to rally. And because that didn't happen, so if I zoom into this area, red, so this is the master origin line, this white line here, and all this blue stuff is the channel around it. And I think then and because this is by far the most important line, straight line in all of Bitcoin price history, that is why I put my number one option as it breaks through that support at roughly 31K, because this is the most important line in all of Bitcoin price. It's more important than that 30K line. This is way more important. That's why this was my number one option, and that ended up prevailing, right? A lot of times though, when I make an analysis, sometimes I guess top three, and the third one is the one that plays out. And very few times, if I guess three, then something else plays out. That sometimes happens, especially if it's a flash crash. I'm not going to always put flash crashes. Back in April we had some flash crashes there, and one in February or something of 2021. So sometimes outside of flash crashes, sometimes I guess my top three are not the right guesses. It's not too common, but a lot of times the third one does play out. But however, I'm very confident that we only need the top two as of now. And so this is the main reason why. Let me put myself, is this top? right. Yeah, okay, I'm way up here on the top right. If I zoom into this area now that we're kind of staring at this, I will put price back on, and it was essentially this. It was supposed to stay above. It needed to stay above here after red. So this red line crossed the white line. It needed to stay above here. It did not. And I thought, well, maybe this is a fake out. Like, this could be a whale game, because it came down and situated itself perfectly, obviously, on my blue line. That is the bottom of the trading channel around here. So the other three times that Bitcoin had flirted with this line, it created a channel. So it just perfectly ping-ponged like a pinball machine around these lines. So it did it again, and I thought, okay, that could be a fake out, could be a whale game, a bear trap. So the next rush up, Bitcoin has to both get above the red line and this origin line. And when it got rejected on this candle right here, and you'll see me go in more in depth on that Monday video if you hadn't watched it, on that candle, right? Let me zoom in a little bit more. On this candle right here, after it got rejected by that line, I knew it wasn't going to touch that origin line, and I knew that was kind of writing on the wall, particularly because it got a rejection from the weekly 10, and it's like a double bearish engulfing candle. It engulfed that candle and that candle. That's bad. It was toast. All right, that's when I knew that's when I started saying we're likely in a capitulatory event sooner on the May end of my scale, because I'd been thinking for quite a while, since December, before anybody, or it might have been since early January, around the new year. But I've been thinking capitulation is going to happen between May and September. And then at that candle, I said, I think it's going to happen May or June, or even late April to early June. So that was a very compelling candle for me. And that's a recap of how I felt very confident in an analysis, right? That, because there are a lot of people who were thinking that this was going to bounce here. I mean, and honestly, it did really. I mean, it was my second most likely. But so just from a TA perspective, these are all the pieces that I was putting together for the case of it dropping through. Let's where's my macro range? This guy. For the case that it would break through that macro line that had a lot of support. It should have been a very strong line, but price just went through it, even on the daily scale. On the 5-minute scale, you had some bouncing around, but on the daily, it just tanked right through. Because that master origin line, it really is by far the most important line in Bitcoin history, plus the weekly 10 going below it, and then it failed to get back above the weekly 10. That is the basis of my analysis there. All right, now, where could this go? I'm going to show you a little bit of the secret here. Let me go back in time. And just a heads up, though, I am within my Discord community. We are essentially making game plans of how to play this bear market, not necessarily just trading short-term timeframes, which I have a lot of people making tons of money off shorts as of now. But even outside of that, just in regard to when you're DCAing strategies, or how to research coins to pick, we're all making plans on how to do that. One thing to note, though, I don't know if I should give this away for free. I really should, because this, I know there are so many folks out there already who are kind of screwed anyway. So I think I owe YouTube this idea. But a lot of you aren't going to believe me, just like you didn't believe that this is going to be a bear market. So it's going to be hard to believe what I'm about to say. It's going to be really hard to believe. Should I do it? Yeah, I'll do this. This is really important, but it's going to be hard to believe. As Bitcoin bottoms, that's not the time to buy altcoins. Go back on your charts and look at where Cardano bottomed. It bottomed a year and a half or almost 2 years after Bitcoin bottomed. If you're going to try to make money off of a Bitcoin bottom, you do that by holding Bitcoin and using Bitcoin. And here's the psychological reason why people hit buy and sell, reason why. The faith in altcoins is gone. Anytime altcoins go up a little bit, everybody who's at some 70%, 80% loss, they see, ooh, now I'm only at a 50% loss. They're going to sell. It's going to take a long time for altcoins to recover. They're not going to go up with Bitcoin. And so what does this mean? Bitcoin dominance is going to start screaming. If you want to play the exact bottom, it's not by buying altcoins. You're going to have your altcoins continue. It'll have a bounce there. It's going to have like a 200% bounce. And it is tradable. But if you do that, you'd have to look to be a seller. However, it's not a safe bet because most altcoins don't bounce very hard during these times because the faith in altcoins is gone. People are going to sell into every rally. Like, ooh, I'm only down 75% now. Let's get rid of it. Let me cut my losses. As opposed to seeing yourself down 80%. A lot of people are holding their stuff. A lot of people holding Luna from $80 and stuff. If Luna ever gets, for example, Luna, if it ever gets up to $20, $30, people are going to sell hard. There's so many people buying. Like, if Luna survives, for example, not to talk about Luna too much, it's kind of off topic, but it's going to take at least 2.5 to 3 years for that to recover because of that idea, right? So that's the exaggerated version of it. So just think about Luna. Everybody who bought it at $50 to $80 and thought they were geniuses, right? Which it was a great project. I don't really blame them. You had no idea that was going to happen. Just like me with Vicoin, I had no idea it was going to, get delisted. But every time Luna inches up, all those people are going to want to sell. It's going to take years and years and years and years and years for that process to stop. So same with altcoins. Now that people have seen how nasty this can get, because it's kind of unbelievable. So remember when I drew, so for example, look, I think most of you remember when I made my bleed boxes for for Veracity, Trias, and Multivac. You remember that? Do you remember how hard it was to believe that my capitulation boxes were going to be hit? You remember this? I made these boxes when price was on this flash crash right there. No, it might have been this flash crash, actually. I think it was that one. I made this bleed box, and it was, most people didn't believe it was possible to be hit. And again, remember, like this, like when I draw boxes, that has a high chance of being hit. Like I've been doing this for a bit. I am essentially a student of the charts. And for newer folks, it's really hard to imagine it. But I don't know why the brain loves imagining how high things can go. It's just natural. It's not just you. It's me. It was me too. Like the brain can easily imagine how high shit can go. But for some reason, it's like, does not compute if you try to imagine how low things can go. It's just it's natural. You're not the only one, right? Now that people are seeing that shock, even though people like me have been saying it's going to go 95 to 99% down, I mean, but it's hard to believe. But now that they believe, and that has been a big shocker. This is all the psychological reasons but multiply it by like 1 million. So there's roughly 1 million people, right? This is why Bitcoin dominance is going to go up. Because the faith, like the reality has hit. Oh my gosh, this can go down this far. So every time it tries to inch up, people are going to sell. And it's going to go straight back down. And if Bitcoin makes a bottom, that psychological process is not broken yet. Altcoins will keep bleeding, I'm telling you. And it's going to be a long time. It's going to be 1.5 years or 2. And for Luna, it might be, if it survives, which I personally don't think it will. I don't think you can survive a 99.5% loss in 6 days. I don't think it's possible to survive that. But if it survives, it'll take 2.5 to 3, 4 years because of that psychological. So am I making sense here? Looping back to the original reason why I started saying this, to connect full circle. If you want to make the best out of, researching and dollar cost averaging and the HODL investor side, not trading to the downside on 5-minute, 30-minute candles. I'm not talking about that. That's independent of this. You can make money anytime. It doesn't matter if Bitcoin goes to 8K and bounces between 8 and 12K. You can make a shit ton of money playing ranges on, for example, on my community with my 3 live trading leaders and my other 3 team leaders leading other crypto fundamental stuff. But in regard to the investment hodling DCA side of things, the way you're going to make money in a bear market is not by buying altcoins when Bitcoin hits a bottom. So I want to be very clear before I show you kind of some thoughts on how Bitcoin bottoms. It's very important. All right? Because we already all know that Bitcoin's going down. I mean, at this point, I think reality has hit. And it's not the bottom yet, I'm telling you. And so let me show you a couple things, what to expect out of Bitcoin. Okay. For example, I'm going to go to the 2017 top. It hit roughly 19,860 or something like that. Let's just call it 20K. And it really actually depends on the chart you're looking at. So currently I'm on Bitstamp. Yeah, I typically use my Bitstamp chart. After it became obvious that it was a bear market, so, 20K top, it still felt like a bull market, still maybe some faith, and then after this one, yeah, then people accepted it's a bear market. But a lot of people thought that this was the bottom. There were tons of people saying, this is the bottom, this is the bottom, this is the bottom, right? And then people like me saw the weekly 89 doing this, and then the weekly 10 doing this. And I was able to guess within a 36 to 48 hour, I think I was 48 hours off, that it was going to capitulate. But to where will it capitulate? If you are finally accepting that you're in a bear market, so let's say we're here now, right? And maybe we won't do all these dead cat bounces, something like that, but we're down here. You look left, and you look at structures, little mountains where you have some high and low, high and low, high and low. That's where Bitcoin is going to bottom with like a very high percentage chance. So all you have to do to make a reasonable and intelligent guess, it might not be perfect, but it's going to be close, is make some horizontals. Let me look left and make some horizontals on those types of structures. So I got the top of that little structure, the bottom of that little structure. Did Bitcoin almost want to bottom there? Yeah, that's exactly where this wick came down to. That bounce, that bounce, that bounce, that bounce, and that's where the weekly 89 came up to and started going sideways because that's where price was attracted to that bottom of that structure. This is just how it works, and you can't really argue with it, even if you don't like it. So the top of that structure and roughly the bottom, yeah, right about there. So does this line align with anything else? Yeah, the bottom. That's all you do. And you're going to have a solid ass guess. And where did it bounce up to? So after it bottomed and hit this line, so it capitulated, hit that area, and it bounced straight up to the next line. That's all you do. You literally look left and look at structures. So I'm not going to give you my exact levels where I'm thinking, because that's for my Discord community that I just shared yesterday. And I might have actually shared it with the free members, the folks who haven't like all the way signed up yet. So if you want to check out the Discord for free, you can also do the just sign up as a member without doing anything. But you can check out what I posted. But yeah, you can do the same thing. That's where it's going to bottom. All right. So, and you don't have a ton of structures to work with here. You can just look at it and see where are the structures. So there's one here. So is it a surprise that all this came to the bottom of that? No, that's just how it works. That's the way Bitcoin moves, and it's gonna move like that again. All right, so that's a little trick for you. I'm gonna put on Ethereum, and so here's another really crazy moment where let's see, where's my bear guess? I got origin lines, bear target, yeah. So I have a box for ETH right there. And honestly, now that I'm looking at Ethereum, it almost looks like it doesn't want to hit it in a bear market either. That box might not work. This might be one of the few boxes that doesn't hold up. However, that was my analysis, and I'm going to stick to it because it's not just, I can't change now that, it should be down here if it's going to be on pace. Like I made the analysis originally, and I'm not going to back out. I'm going to keep my box there out of honor, but it might not be hit. But most of my boxes either are hit or the price of the altcoins go below it, as you saw with a lot of things, even outside of Luna, Mana, Matic, Trias, all that stuff. So like this is where I will give you my bottom target for Ethereum. I think it's going to go under $1,000, and I think it's going to slightly wick under this master origin line here. Or no, this is more of like its master origin line, but this origin line here. I think it's going to make its way over time down to there. It's got a long way to go. And from a percentage standpoint, last bear market, Ethereum went down 94.5%, 94.25, something to that effect. And this would only be down 79%. So this is realistic. That is way less of a bear market than last time. That's less than 80%, that box. So that's part of the reason why I'm sticking with my analysis. Even though from just glancing at it, it looks unbelievable. Like, no way. But if you try to set points of relativity so that you know what you're looking at. So have you seen that? Do you remember? So folks 21 and under, you probably won't remember this. But there was a social media phenomenon that went across essentially the globe. I don't think it was isolated to America. About the dress. What color is the dress? And roughly half of it was roughly half and half. There were lots of study, like even like for real, legit psychological studies on it. And it was roughly half the population saw it as blue, the other half saw it as white, or I can't remember, or gray. I don't remember what it was, but half the population saw totally different colors than the other half. And it's all, the way your brain interprets color is off of context around that color. And so it really depended on what the setting was, and so the dress, for some reason, in the picture, the context was essentially at a human threshold of either you see it blue or you see it the other color. It played with the threshold of how the brain connects the context, right? And so the same idea here, that's what drawing this percentage down does. This is the context so you can see it correctly. Am I making sense here? So Ethereum's it's very likely going to go under $1,000. So I will give you my target for Ethereum. All right. And what could happen? Let me go back to Bitcoin on the short-term timeframes. I don't want to piss with Ethereum too much. Ooh, this looks like a strong buyback. So we might be actually getting a bounce at this point. All right. Let's do some short-term stuff, then I'll jump on to questions. I will try to spend slightly less or right at half the time. My fault. I bought a gaming computer, but it's still, when I have all these programs open to record and YouTube Studio and everything, it likes to have memory crashes, so I need to get a better graphics card. All right. Should be rocking and rolling here. So take a look at this. When things will bounce. Although there is nothing here, so Bitcoin looks like it's getting a pretty severe buyback right here. Pretty strong buyback, and there's nothing here to bounce off of. However, you have to look at the daily candle. It wicked way down and has flipped green. Oh, you can't see that. Boop, boop, boop. Good thing I realized that within 10 seconds. It flipped green. So, as of now, even though from a structural standpoint, this is candlestick reading, you have to interpret this as if this day can close green like this, if it can close, it's very, very likely that continuation of people buying this back will go for 1 to 2 more candles, at least. The shelf life of that, if it closes. So you look over on this side, it has 9 hours left. It hasn't closed yet. It's got a ways to go. But if this can close, you can interpret this as if price comes down to here and it doesn't go too far below the candle body. It could go maybe down to here, but not too far below the candle body. The next day starts red. You could still imagine, even if it happens in the first, I would say 12 hours of the candle, you could still bet that it's going to flip green if you get this closure. That stays green. I'm not convinced that this candle will stay green as for a close, but if it does, then the analysis for the next couple days would be you're going to get a short-term bounce. The shelf life of that should be roughly 48 hours. Is it guaranteed to get you 2 candles that are green? No, but it's pretty likely because of the strong buyback and the day closed strong. Does that make sense? And that's even if the next day. So you can bet, though, in that analysis, that you will have backfills that will test this area and maybe even try to scare people out by going lower than these candle bodies. And I would still say at that time, it's still more likely for it to flip green and the next day to be some type of green candle. Or maybe a doji candle. Might start slowing down on that second day. And so that's a very short-term time frame analysis. And if I zoom into this area and go to the 5-minute chart, what you're going to see is you're going to see something like you're going to see. Watch, I already know what I'm going to see. Like, you're going to see something like that, and it's going to try to, you'll have a local first high, and it'll have some trouble getting over there, and it might stop, then it's going to bust above, and maybe then start retesting the second or the third local high on a 5-minute chart, and that's all the stuff that'll be happening on day 1 and 2. So you won't see all this yet. You'll see maybe this much of it right here up to this point, and when we zoom in, that's roughly what you're going to see. A lot of downside. And then price will probably be somewhere close to either, I would say, the first local high or maybe even the second one. It might be here or here trying to test that. And that's what you're going to see on the low time frames. And so let me zoom into that. So I'll circle this and we'll go to the 5-minute candle. So it's still trying to flirt with the first local high. So this is the first local high right here. You see that? And it's going to have trouble at this area. And what you can do, so this is how, so I'm essentially showing you an analysis on how to marry or couple 2 different time frames. You can couple daily candlestick interpretation with 5-minute candle structure. It's simple, and we're doing it right now. Just look how easy, and I already knew what it was going to look like, right? Because again, I'm a student of the charts. I do this a lot. And last night during our VIP call, wow, we were geeking out. We were geeking out at some stuff. Most YouTubers use fib retracements, and then I have a VIP who's really good at using trend-based fib extensions. This one right here. Most YouTubers don't do it. You have to have 3 points, and it was really fascinating. Anyway, so what's going to happen here is if today's candle closes green, I might want to make the open line. You're going to want to have a couple lines on your chart if you're going to want to do short-term analysis. You're going to need the daily open line right here. And then you're going to go back to the 5-minute chart, and you're going to need a line. I would actually say a box, because this high and this high are kind of together, so I would make it a box, not a line. So for short-term time frame analysis, you're going to want to make a box like this. And if the 5-minute candle... I can get rid of this line. I don't need that line. At the end of the day, if 5-minute candles are above this line, that means the day closed green, right? If it closes green, what you can say for the next day is price needs to get above that box and use it as support. And then if it can do that within that candle, it's likely that that candle will stay green as well. Does that make sense? It just needs to get over this local high. And if it can do it, so this right here doesn't mean crap. It's got to come down during that potential second green candle if this day closes above here. Use it as support, and then make a little bit, it's got to get over its high that it made as it got above. And that's when you know that second daily candle will also close green. You'll get 2 green in a row. And that's exactly what you'll see. This is just how price moves. And that's the short term. So those are really the only 2 things you need to be looking at for a little bit. In particular, too, if the day closes green. If the day closes red, then you can forget that. It's not even going to be in play, and it's going down more. And that's what I got for the Bitcoin analysis. So I will shut up or not completely shut up, but I will start looking at questions now. And again, with questions, I do super chats and community tier members, YouTube tier members first. That's kind of their privilege. If you're a community tier member, I look at your questions first in regard to checking out with super chats, and then I'll try to get to other questions. All right. OTA, good to see you, OTA. Hope you're doing well. Today's show, or were you affected by the market? Are people, he's, okay, so you're talking to other people. All right, hi, OTA. Always pump this live train. Good, yeah. So, okay, a non-community member, non-super chat. This is a really important question. I got to get to this one. So somebody, Bram asked, do you think we have entered a year-long bear market? It's going to be longer than that. Who is sitting on a Luna short? Well, you know what? If you had looked, go look at my last Luna video. I said it's going to come up to $120 and correct fairly hard, and it went to $120. But yeah, anybody in a Luna short, I mean, obviously you should have closed it out already. If you had been up in a short since $100, if it's $1, you need to get out. So introducing the caller of bear markets, the oracle of Bitcoin, every other coin, one true technical analyst, the magic. See, I present the great 𝘾𝙤𝙣𝙣𝙚 𝙒𝙗. Hey, thanks OTA, appreciate it. All right, what's up, my guy? Thank you for keeping it real. Hey, you're welcome, Chris. So Chris asks, is there any reason why we should be concerned about USDT losing its peg at any point? That is a good question. That was actually the focus of a VIP live chat that I had last night. And one of my VIPs knows a lot about fundamentals of coins. And we were digging on Tether last night and analyzing the different ways that what are cash equivalents, and they actually break it down. They have bought AAA, essentially bonds and government bonds and cash within their cash equivalents. And the way that Luna and UST was attacked, you cannot attack. Tether cannot be. So I'm fairly ignorant on the subject matter, right? So I'm going to say things in bland ways that aren't they aren't very specific. But the way that Luna and UST was attacked is not a way that Tether can be attacked. It is a lot safer on paper. Is it foolproof? No, because a lot of the paper stuff that's cash equivalents, in a depression or a very steep recession, it could hurt Tether, but it's going to have to be a really nasty downturn, even like way nastier than what coronavirus did to the market. It would have to be .com era level, or I would say even it would have to be slightly more severe than what happened in 2008, 2009. Or on that level. It'd have to be on that level. The last two recessions, 2000 and 2008. It'd have to be on that level for Tether to have to be sweating in its boots, essentially. That was roughly the analysis. It would take a lot for its cash equivalents to be hurt, cash equivalent holdings to be really, really hurt, and that would put Tether in a bad spot. However, one thing we were thinking of is if you wanted to take a third of your portfolio of crypto, if you're holding stable stuff, I mean, it might not be a bad play to, since this is probably going to be a 1.5 year long bear market, it might not be a bad idea to take some out of crypto, like a third of your portfolio, and buy some type of gold or gold equivalent. That would be a pretty good hedge for that, instead of holding on to Tether or just cash, as cash is essentially going down. It doesn't matter if Dixie's going up. It just means that the dollar's sucking less than the euro, essentially, right? And the yen, because they're printing heavier than the United States per the population. So of that fiat system, even though the dollar's stronger than what it's compared against, the dollar's still weaker versus meat or versus oil. So the dollar's still going down. So that's why even better than holding USD or fiat could be some type of gold or gold equivalent, gold derivative or whatever. But yeah, I can't speak too much on, what's the percentage chance that Tether boils over. I really don't know. Okay. Yeah, but the Tether loses its peg and repegs a lot. Like it has wishy-washy stuff. So if there's going to be a run on Tether, it'll unpeg a little bit, but it should bounce right back. They have a pretty solid system in place. They've self-audited themselves. But it's not foolproof. It could go down, and if you have $100,000 of Tether, it could go away. Hell, if you have $100,000 of USD sitting on Coinbase, and Coinbase goes under, like, that would be part of a bankruptcy hearing, and you would not have access to that $100,000. Like, I mean, getting stuff off of exchanges during a bear market's a good idea. All right. Okay, so let me scroll down here. So Brokoshi no dinero. That is literally, that's the coolest name. It gets me every time I see it. What is your ETH bear market target? So Brokoshi, okay, I accidentally and coincidentally already answered your question. So actually, let's go into Ethereum a little bit more here to see how it would get down there. All right, since you're asking that question. All right, so I'm going to throw on I'm going to go to the daily chart for this. And again, here is my target. All right. Let me put my left-hand corner. All right. Structurally, if you look at ETH like this, and we're already fairly deep in a bear market now with this, you know, we're watching capitulation. We're in the middle of capitulation right now. This is happening. It doesn't, you know, you would think that, like, how is it going to get all the way down there, right? If we're already in capitulation now, you know, and it's holding strong at this horizontal, you know, and we're this far into capitulation, it looks like it'll have a chance to hold this line, which I think, you know, that's possible. It could only hit 1330. That is your best case scenario. And remember, I said, if you're going to nail the bear market low, you look left and look at high-low structures like this one. And that's where it's going to go. Like that's very likely where it's going to go. So this is this is your best case possible scenario, 1330 for a bear market target. However, remember that Ethereum lost 94% of its value last bear market. Bitcoin lost 87%. So Bitcoin, I think it was 87. Bitcoin lost 87% last bear market. Ethereum lost 94% last bear market. Cardano lost 99% of its value last bear market. 99%. Technically, it was 98.77. And again, that happened after a year and a half after Bitcoin bottomed, was Cardano's bottom, right? So altcoins don't bottom with Bitcoin's bottom. Anyway, but that's the key thing. Ethereum won't necessarily bottom with Bitcoin. It has a chance to. I don't consider Ethereum an altcoin. Ethereum is about one of the only altcoins that has a chance to bottom with Bitcoin and rally up and essentially go against the idea that Bitcoin dominance is going to fly up. Anyway, so take that number, right? And remember what Bitcoin came down last time to try to get a point of relativity here. Look, 1330, that's only 73%. So why would Ethereum hold up better than Bitcoin did last time? I don't think it will. Go down to my bear market box, that's only 80%. 80% is smaller than both of these numbers. So if you take a point of relativity here, to try to set like a litmus test, right? Like, okay, how can I understand what's happening around me without just making some guess that doesn't have how do I make sure I'm living in reality, essentially? You have to set points of relativity. Like as if you were going into some haunted woods in a movie and the woods are like changing, the trees are moving and the rocks are moving, right? You can't just set like placers down. You literally need to be tied to a rope from the entrance of the woods to get back, right? So your rope is your lifeline. It's how you know reality is there, right? And so you could see around you and understand the context around you. You've seen those movies. You know what I'm talking about. And so that's these numbers here from the previous bear market, plus this measuring tool. Can you see it over here where I'm hovering? That is your lifeline rope entering the woods. So you know what's going on. That's less than 80%. It's probably going to hit that box. Even though it doesn't look like it. It really doesn't look like it. It looks like 1330 might hold, but it doesn't make sense. This is you, like, and it doesn't make sense because you're entering a weird set of woods that you don't know, and you're getting lost. You were getting lost in the charts. Your eyes are getting lost. It's probably going to hit that box in the time frame I put it. Within that, it'll probably very likely hit it between that line and that line. It'll hit in this area. So that would be this is my bear market target for Ethereum for sure. For those reasons. And this is during bear markets, it's a very, very powerful tool. That measuring stick, I'm telling you, from Wick and outside of altcoins, most altcoins are going to lose. It'll be most of them way over 90%, but 90 to 99% is what altcoins are going to lose from their Wick high. Every single one, outside of Ethereum and Bitcoin. And most of them will lose 95% or more. The vast majority. So pick a coin. BNB. It'll probably lose 90. It'll be on the lower end of that scale. And like even KuCoin shares. So some of the stronger coins might be the exchange coins, but they're still going to lose over 90%. So that they'll be on the upper end of that, or the lighter end of the loss. Things like smaller caps, like BPRO, Trias, Veracity, all that stuff. They're going to be between 95 and 99% from their Wick high. That's just the way it works. Mid-cap tokens, they might hover around 95% on average, all right? And so it's kind of, the top of this box actually might be too generous. That's only 79%. I kind of find it unlikely that it sticks its landing at 850. Actually, no, that's about 1,000. I'm sorry. So that's right at $1,000. But I think $1,000 might be too high because that's only 79%. I think it's going to dip down into here. All right, into this box. And so what structure does this align with? So if I said look left and align it with some structure to the left with a high and low, well, look, here's a high and low. Yeah, that structure right here kind of works. So you can maybe make 2 boxes. That sort of counts. That could stop at the top of the bottom of that to the top of this. Boom. See how it goes through there? And here's another one over here. Something like this. There you go. That's the bottom of it. That goes to the bottom of the box. That goes to the middle of the box. So Ethereum has a chance to stop here. And this also goes through the box. So Ethereum is extremely likely. So just looking left and mixing 2 different methodologies here. Using the measuring stick and using the look left at previous structures, that's likely where the bottom's going to be. All 3 of these go through my box. It's likely going to go to one of these 3 areas. The most bullish possible case is that it stops at the bottom of that structure at 1330. But it's very likely going to hit one of these 3 peak boxes. Very, very, very likely. So let me go ahead and put these in my bear target. So I can save that. So later on, I can tell you I told you so, because I'm probably going to be able to. All right, so that's what we got for Ethereum. Under $1,000 is what I got. All right. That's a good question. Tether demise will be the next bear. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. All right. Harrison, another community member, asked 𝐾𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐵 buy targets. Ooh. I missed the B. All right, I have about 12 minutes left. So I won't be able to get to everybody's questions. 𝐾𝐢𝐬𝐜. Wow, so this is a bigger one. This is on Coinbase and Binance. So this is a legit one. Ooh, frick. What? Wait, I thought I had one with more price history. Oh, that's not crypto. That's 𝐾𝐢𝐬𝐜 Group. Okay. Yikes. Poloniex? Nope, they all have the same amount of history. Okay, so I'll just go with Binance. Wow. I don't know if I can analyze buy targets for this. That got really... Did it come out in November? Oh, I actually had a community member come on and talk about this one, I think. Because he said, yeah, it came out at just the worst time possible, and this could be a legit one. I have somebody who's pretty anxious to pick some of this up. All right, so this is the best you can do. Has it hit the 95% target? It has. So therefore, if you put in limit buys around 94, so now you could DCA, but just realize it could go down to 98%. So all you have to do is this is the best you can do. Like literally. There is not a better way to do like a more accurate analysis on where to try to get this. So maybe do something like 98%, make a line at 161. Do it again. 97%. 238. %, 314. 95%, 398. And then 94% is now. So if you take the amount of money that you want to put into this coin, let's say it's a round number like $1,000. Okay, so that's the amount of money in total of dollars or fiat that you want to put in here. Divide it by 5. So each purchase would be a $200 purchase. You would DCA some now at 94%, or actually you'd be buying it under 94%, so that's good. So I would just get it out of the way now. Don't wait for it to go up. So get that fifth one, that 94%, get it actually lower, because you're going to have a better DCA. So $200 here, or a market buy now, potentially. 200 at that line, 200 at that line, so on and so forth. 200 here, and 200 here. And just let these sit until they fill. And it might be over a year until the bottom two are filled. It'll be a while. It'll be a long while. And remember, this will likely hit an all-time low after Bitcoin has tried to bounce from a bottom. So let's say the top 3 are filled, Bitcoin finds a bottom and bounces, and this goes up to here. Well, guess what? You're going to want to become a seller. So then you could free up all that money and you have more money. Yeah, you would have doubled that, for example, in that case. And then it comes down here and then you can buy more of it. And these orders are already sitting here. You see what I'm saying? That's how I would do it. These would be my buy targets at 94% or now, 95, 96, 97, 98. And I would divide the amount of money that I want to put into it in 5. And for Pokemon cards only, that's what I would do with Baico, the Baico Pokemon cards. Not financial advice. Definitely talking about Pokemon. All right. Somebody's asking about, my bad, I was on a work call. Okay. Harrison's asking about likes. LYXE. Well, it's almost definitely going to hit this. It's $4. It pretty much needs to hit that. And so remember, look left. Look at structures. Make a line here. Put a line there at the bottom. So that bottom one actually kind of meets with this top. So you only need one line. Here, let me zoom in so you can see this. See how this is one structure here? That's a structure, and that's another structure. The top of that meets with the bottom of that. So honestly, that line might be a little thicker. That's a pretty good candidate right there, because it's a top and bottom. And I'm assuming you're asking about bear market target. So this is another top and bottom. It hits both. So actually, I will go like this. So those would be my 4 guesses. Best case scenario, it holds for $3.99, $3.98. Best case, but more realistically, I would say $2.10 would $2.07 would be $2.08. And then these two might be of this one. The top and bottom might be of equal chances. However, remember, now you want to go back and use your lifeline, your rope through the woods, and make sure do those align with what I know is my lifeline. Usually they align, and I'm confident one of them will align with my zone of like 95 to 99% or whatever, around 95, close to 95%. But I don't know yet, so I need to go back and test it, right? Okay, so let's go back. And why does it, it almost always magically aligns. I don't know why. I don't get why. I don't understand. But for some reason, it just does. And this is why I know TA works, because it just, I don't know. What should make me a liar? I really don't know. All right, there you go. Bam. See that? What does that say? It says 95%. And what was the line I said is most likely? This one. Ta-da! It works. I'm seriously buying a wizard hat. Like, I'm totally doing it. All right. There you go. 208. It's a very strong candidate. Do you think VRA Trias B Pro all right, thanks Ivan for a super chat. All right. VRA Trias B Pro MTV will go back to all-time high if Bitcoin goes 70K plus. Maybe not MTV, but the others, yes. 70K plus. That's a good question. It might have to be a little bit more than 70K, because here's how cycles work. It might have to be Bitcoin closer to 90 or 85. But Veracity I think Veracity is so strong, it could be close to all-time highs when Bitcoin's in the 70s to high 70s, maybe low 80s. But I think BPro and Trias might need a little bit more than that, and here's why. So, for example, all-time high, okay? Make a line there to when Bitcoin hit an all-time high again, right? And what date was that? That was November, so that was around Thanksgiving in America, so around November 26th, okay, of 2020. Where was Cardano? So Cardano did 135x, remember? And so where was Cardano in late November of 2020? Cardano was right here. Is that close to all-time highs? No. When did Cardano hit all-time highs? In March of 2021. Where was Bitcoin in March 2021? Almost at its high. You see that? So typically for altcoins to go back to their all-time highs, Bitcoin's got to have raced past its pretty significantly past its all-time high. You're seeing what I'm saying here? That's why Bitcoin dominance, it's so easy to predict, essentially, or to make a strong, I think predict is a bad word, but predict with a certain level of confidence. So to peg a confidence like a percent probability. So that's kind of like prediction, but prediction is really a bad word. Predict means exact, like I have a crystal ball, but loosely predict that those altcoins probably won't get back to their all-time high until Bitcoin is closer to 85, 90K. It's got to be racing past its all-time high for those coins to do that. Veracity could be one that is close to its all-time highs when Bitcoin's in the mid-70s, high 70s. But yeah, that's a good question. And so that's the visual, though. For altcoins to fly, Bitcoin has to be way past its previous all-time high. Way past. All right. And you're going to see Bitcoin dominance really start flying, folks. Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks, Ivan. All right, and then who else do we got? Patrick. Oh, Patrick, I skipped you. Sorry. So buy the BTC and ETH bottom and hold it till lower than start. Yes, exactly. Okay, so I don't necessarily like the way you worded that question, Patrick, but yes, that's exactly right. So Patrick is trying to confirm a thought process or confirm understanding of what, putting the pieces together of what I've been saying here. Yes, if you're damn chicken. Hopefully you can't hear that. Nope, you can't hear it. Okay, good. I have a chicken in the pole barn part of my office. Where I have a weight set and all that stuff out there. He's just clucking like crazy. All right, anyway. If you're going to take advantage of the exact bottom of Bitcoin, the only way to do it is to hold Bitcoin and Ethereum. Or probably just Bitcoin, but Ethereum could be a good play too. I would probably do a maybe 70-30, 60-40 into that if I were trying to play the bottom. To make money off of a bottom, you don't buy altcoins because they're going to keep going down. Remember the psychological thing? So absolutely, you nailed it on the head. That's exactly right. And then after Bitcoin starts racing up and has recovered, that's when you take your profits on Bitcoin, hold a stable coin, and then start scouting, have my altcoins bottomed. And then you buy altcoins with more money than you had before because you bought Bitcoin near a bottom and it screamed up for a little bit as altcoins still suck. And then you sell that and buy altcoins. Exactly. Perfect. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That is perfect. Exactly the way you do it. Now, is that guaranteed to work perfectly this time? I mean, no, it's not guaranteed, but that's the way it's been the last several times, or the last couple bear markets. So you could, and from a psychological perspective, it just makes sense still. It's very likely what's going to happen again because of the mass psychology now, could there be a couple outliers like, some gaming tokens, or I don't think DeFi is going to take off first this time. I think DeFi is kind of under attack. People are going to be kind of scared to enter that. I don't think NFTs, honestly, NFTs could pop off kind of fast, but that's not real crypto. NFTs actually do have it, even though I don't think they're going to come back from the dead, but I think they have a chance to get a good pop. What could I think your exchange coins could do well, maybe BNB, KuCoin shares. I don't really know what would pop with Bitcoin's initial recovery outside of Ethereum. Maybe Litecoin and XRP, because Litecoin's happening is staggered with Bitcoin's, and Litecoin could really race up exactly with Bitcoin, and so could I think Ethereum, Litecoin, and XRP might be three that could be an exception to that rule, where you could play a Bitcoin bottom with those, but it would be a riskier move. Therefore, I would put less of a percentage into those. I don't know if I would take the risk with Bitcoin Cash. It's suffered pretty hard, but if Bitcoin goes up, a lot of times, Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin will move, and even Dash will move with it. But Litecoin's happening, and XRP's SEC ruling stuff that might come out soon, those might be two for those specific reasons where you could play a Bitcoin bottom with those. Those would be really strong, maybe even stronger candidates than Ethereum, but I would include Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP as smaller, like more riskier bets, but higher risk, higher reward. But if I were going to play a bottom, it would be 50% or more with Bitcoin. That'd be kind of my guess. And you're going to have one more outlier. Like, hell, it could be Solana. You're going to have one or two that are your, like, where the hell is this coming from? It's outperforming everything. Kind of like Chainlink did last bear market. You're going to have one or two of those, but you can't really guess them. But that it really just might be Litecoin and XRP. You don't really know. Litecoin, XRP, and maybe one other one that you can't really guess. Yeah, that would be my thought process there. All right, I'm past time. All right. So, hey, Jimbo, welcome, man. We can. Hey, Tim, clock is ticking. Don't keep your wife waiting. She just, nope, here she comes. Exactly. All right, Brokoshi, you're on it, man. All right, I got to go. So I will try to give a better heads up for the live chats with Twitter and stuff. I usually do the better heads ups for Tuesdays, but I'm ready to get going. So thanks for being here, everybody, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. New York time. We'll see you later.